In this video, we're going to take a look at some more all-over print products from Printify for your print-on-demand business. Before we get started, I do want to mention that Printify is the sponsor of this video and they provided these samples so that we could do this review. All right, so this is not going to be the first video that I've done reviewing all-over print products from Printify. If you've caught any of my previous product review videos, I've reviewed the all-over print leggings, which come from MWW On Demand, as well as the all-over print tote bags, which also come from MWW On Demand. When it comes to using all-over print patterns or seamless patterns for your products, you have a couple options there as well, especially with the pattern creator feature that Printify has had for the last couple of months now in the design editor view, because that is how I made 2 of the products we're reviewing today. Okay, so the new products that we are taking a look at today are an all-over print sweatshirt from MWW On Demand, so another product from MWW. We have some all-over print socks from Spoke Custom Products, and we have an all-over print apron from Colorway. And so 2 of them have an all-over print seamless pattern that I use the pattern creation feature for. And then the apron is another example of how you don't have to have a seamless pattern to use an all-over print product. This is just a solid background with a transparent PNG on it. And let's actually start with the apron here. So Printify has a couple different aprons available, and this one, as I mentioned, is from Colorway. All right, so starting with the print quality of our apron here, again, I used a transparent PNG file. If Dad can't grill it, no one can. This can absolutely go on a t-shirt or a hoodie or a sweatshirt or any other apparel product like that you would normally use a transparent PNG. I would say the lines on this came out about as crisp as they usually do for a sublimation type print, because usually sublimation on an all-over print product, the fine lines, you know, the straight edges of things, they're not quite as crisp as they are with DTG. The graphic might be just a hair off center from where I placed it in the print area in the design editor view. We could check that a little bit later. And the solid blue color of the background came out very consistent across the whole front of the product. The backside is, of course, white. Usually with all over print, you're going to have a white inside or backside, depending on what the product is. All right, moving on to the product itself. The attachments for the neck loop and the tie backs on the side seem to be on there pretty firm. The sewing quality around the edge, it's really just a folded over. Good quality on the stitching, I would say. The fit of this apron is pretty much, I think, where it should be. I don't think you would get any complaints, even though the neck loop here is not adjustable. You can't change the length to bring this up or down, unless, of course, you maybe like tie a knot in the back of the loop. But even if you don't do that, I think it sits right about where it should for an apron. The tie backs are longer than I can hold in frame on camera here. So I think they're plenty long. So I think sizing wise, it definitely is a universal fit. I see no issues with the overall size and the length of it as well. I mean, it definitely would provide you with adequate coverage. The only real criticism I have of this product is that for the price point, which isn't super high, but it's not super cheap either, the material feels maybe a tad on the thin side. It feels like it could be just a touch thicker. I wouldn't go as far as to say it feels cheap, but like I said, that's my only criticism of the product. It feels like just a little bit thinner than what I was hoping for, but otherwise satisfied with the quality of the product. Next up, we have a pair of all-over print socks from Spoke Custom Products. These are the all-over print crew socks from Spoke. There are some different print providers on Printify that offer all-over print socks in different styles. There's also some different lengths. As I mentioned, this is the crew length, so it's intended to come up to about the calf area. All of them have a black toe box and black heel. So you're not going to get the all-over print over the toe area and over the heel area. It's just going to be solid black in those 2 spots. And the sample that I ordered is a size large, which according to the size chart correlates to a US men's size 10 to 13. This seems a little bit big to me to fit someone who has a size 10 foot. In fact, let's be scientific about it. I'm going to measure the distance between the toe and the heel before and after the wash. From the toe to the very corner of the heel is about 10.75 inches, so we'll see how much they shrink after the first wash. The print quality on these came out pretty nice. I have to say it came out a little bit better than I was expecting. This is a spandex and nylon all over print product. In general, again, the print quality came out nice. The crew area, the top part of the sock here, has a good bit of stretch to it. There's also a sort of a band around the arch. I believe that's to apply a little bit of compression around the arch. That's more stretchy than the toe area and the heel area. They're not super cushioned. These are not what I would call cushioned socks. They are pretty thin. You're probably just wearing these to be seasonal and you know, get a smile out of your socks. So I don't think they have to be the world's warmest socks or the most cushiony socks, but they are pretty thin in my opinion. But like I said, we'll see how they look and feel after the wash. All right, the star of the show here is the all-over print sweatshirt from MWW On Demand. I say it's the star of the show because it is an ugly Christmas sweater pattern that I made with just a couple of clicks using the pattern creator tool on Printify's design editor, and I could not find a single spot on this sweatshirt where the pattern wasn't lined up perfectly or where there were any gaps where the image is tiled together. It looks completely seamless to me. I don't see any of those types of lines where the pattern didn't line up perfectly. And this image that I used actually has kind of that knitted sweater texture almost to it. So it even has kind of a little bit more of that Christmas sweatery feel to it. I couldn't have asked for a better result. Now, if we talk about alignment for just a second, as I mentioned, I used the pattern creator feature in the design editor view on Printify, and I did not make adjustments to the sleeves or the neck. The only thing I adjusted slightly was the waistband area. You'll see exactly what I did when we move over to the computer. I'll show you the design editor view, but I think this came out looking just fine. The stitching all the way around this is high quality, which I've come to expect from MWW On Demand. I don't see loose threads. I don't see seams pulling apart. I don't see anything significantly out of alignment where it meets up. The inside of the sweatshirt has a fleece lining. It's not the world's thickest fleece lining, but it's also not what I would call super lightweight either. It's probably medium weight. Now, there is one thing to be aware of when it comes to this product, and it's something that has actually been mentioned a couple times in product reviews left by customers in my Etsy shop. And that is, this sweatshirt is not one that's going to have a lot of stretch. In fact, I'd go as far as to say it has almost no stretch at all on the body itself. But I didn't have an issue getting this on. I didn't have an issue with the neck area not stretching enough to get it over my head. The cuff area and the neck area do have a little bit of stretch. It could be a little bit less than what your customers are used to in terms of a regular sweatshirt. So just keep that in mind. I don't see it as a deal breaker at all as long as your customer buys the right size. All right, so I want to jump over to the computer to talk about the pricing and the design process. But before we do that, let's find out how all three of these products came out after their first wash. The results of the wash test are in, and all things are looking pretty good. The all-over print sweatshirt is probably the most unchanged of the three. There is no appreciable amount of shrink. It still looks exactly as it did, and it feels maybe just a little bit softer, almost exactly the same as when it first came out of the package. The apron, very similar, really nothing appreciable in terms of a difference after the wash. The only real notable change is that there's this little bit of fuzziness on the surface, and I can't tell honestly after this first wash if this is like fabric pilling of the actual fabric, or if this is really just lint that it picked up from the dryer being in there with other new products. So from what I can tell, it doesn't really seem like a change to the quality. And then we come to the all over print socks. I'm getting a measurement of just a hair over 10 inches from the toe to the corner of the heel. Now they are a little bit bunched up, so maybe if you give a little bit of room there, it lost anywhere from a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch in the first wash. And that does mean that the sizing doesn't run quite as large as I thought it did. So I still think they run a tiny bit large, knowing that they only shrink a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, but not overly large. All right, before we take a look at the pricing of these products, I want to show you a couple quick things about the design process. Starting with the apron from Colorway here, this one probably has the simplest of the design process here. If you're not going to be using a pattern or creating a pattern on the apron, then you can pretty much approach this just like you would a t-shirt or other DTG printed garment. So what you can do is simply choose a background color here, and I chose one of the default options that Printify offers here, but you can also paste in or add in your own hex code if you want to use a separate tool to sort of come up with a custom color option that you want to use, and then you simply upload your PNG file that you want to use or SVG file, either one. Now, one pretty cool thing about Printify's pattern creator is that you can create a pattern from any file. So if we just wanted to have a repeating graphic here instead of a seamless pattern, we could still start with our solid color background like this. Let me get rid of this graphic here, and we'll just use one of the available free graphics here from Printify to show you as an example. Let's say we want to use this SVG of an ice cream bar here, and we'll size this down. And now we'll come back over to the right side here and we'll use the create pattern toggle switch, and it's going to go ahead and create our pattern for us. And now we can use these adjustments here to add some space in between them. We can add vertical space as well. We can also change the angle. We can even rotate the graphic itself to get a slightly different looking pattern. Let's maybe change the background color of this to something a little bit more colorful for ice cream. And there we go. We got a nice ice cream themed pattern. So just wanted to show you an example here of how you don't necessarily have to have a seamless pattern to use all over print products, or even to have an actual pattern. You can use a solid color background and just an individual graphic, and then use the pattern creation feature to make your pattern. Now for the all over print socks, you have a few different placement areas. As you can see here, you got front left, front right, back left, back right. And you kind of just get this skinny rectangular print area. I uploaded this pattern, which is just a square. So there's what it looks like when I uploaded it. Then I used the toggle to turn it on, and I really didn't have to make any adjustments from there. The only other thing I did was I used this button here, which appears in the little pop-up menu over the graphic, to apply this to all print areas. So we clicked on that, and that applies it to all of those other three print areas. Then if we come to preview, we see exactly what we got as our sample. Now, the all-over print sweatshirt you might assume is the most work when it comes to the design process, and that can be true if you have a detailed design where you want something slightly different, like different elements to appear in different positions on the garment. But if you want to just have a seamless pattern like I did, then it's pretty simple. So again, we have multiple print areas across the top of the screen here. And if I undo this create pattern option, you'll see the original file. I basically just filled this out so that it was hitting both edges of the maximum bleed area and then centered it, and then hit this toggle switch to turn on the pattern. And again, I selected this apply to all print areas option, and then I took a look at the preview, and this is exactly what I did to get the result. However, as I mentioned, it can be more work than this to create an all over print top, really, whether it's a sweatshirt or a t-shirt. It depends on the design that you're going for. If you want to have a specific design that's different on the front than the back, and if you want these sleeves to be a perfect continuation of a pattern that begins on the body and the shoulder area, then of course you're going to have to do a little bit more work to line things up. But just to do a seamless pattern all over print sweatshirt, it's pretty simple. All right, now let's talk pricing for these products. We'll start with the sweatshirt, the all over print unisex sweatshirt from MWW On Demand. This does come in sizes extra small to 2XL. You've got a pretty good range between extra small and 2XL. All right, so on pricing for this, let's just do the shipping first. So in the US, which is where MWW is located, the shipping price is $8.39, $2.49 for any additional. To Canada, it is $11.99, and to anywhere else, it is $14.39. So pretty expensive shipping for anywhere else, especially once you add that to the price of the individual sizes. And those prices for extra small start at $24.25. They go all the way from there, incrementally increasing up to $27.77 for the 2XL. So the price difference between extra small and 2XL is only about $3, a little more than $3. But keep in mind, the smallest size or the lowest priced item in your listing, that's the price that shows in search results. So the price that people see in search results is going to be based on that extra small if you offer that size. So you're looking at a total cost with the shipping included of $32.64 for the extra small size. So if we come to our trusty Allura Etsy fee calculator here, we will put in our cost of $32.64, $42.99. We'll see just how low that profit is. That's only a 14% profit margin, or $5.82. So under $6 of profit. We're coming in at a profit margin of 23%, or $11.25 if we go with the price of $48.99. And so if we just bump that up to $49.99, we're looking at $12 profit, 24%. Now that is lower than I would like to see. I like to shoot for 30% profit margin, sometimes higher than that depending on the product. I am willing to come down to 25% on products that I think are worth selling and they will sell some volume, but I need to keep my pricing a little bit lower to be competitive. There's two factors I want to throw out here as well. One possible thing would be to basically just accept a lower profit margin on size extra small with the assumption that you're probably not going to sell super high volume of extra small, and then just go for more of that 27-28% profit margin on sizes small through 2XL, because this is the price again that shows in search results, and you can get a slightly higher profit margin on the larger sizes. And in addition to that, this, as always, is the total price that we would need to get. So this would be the price to charge if we were doing free shipping, but we can also subtract whatever amount we're going to charge for shipping from the actual product price. So if we were doing, say, $6 for shipping, then we'd be looking at $43.99 product price for the extra small, again, with this profit margin. So I might go $1 higher than that just to try and get an even 25% on extra small, and then go more for 28% profit margin on the larger sizes. I do sell some of these all over print sweatshirts, and the niches that I usually target with these products, because they are a higher price than your regular sweatshirts, are the holiday themed or specialty themed designs, because usually for those types of occasions, people are willing to pay a little bit more to get something unique or funny or something like that. So your things like ugly Christmas patterns, your Halloween pattern themed designs, especially if there is a type of pattern that really needs to be all over print to look right, and maybe it's part of a Halloween costume or something like that, then those can be the types of products that people are usually willing to pay a little bit more for to get something that looks a little bit better than just having the print on the front of a sweatshirt. All right, the all-over print socks were from Spoke Custom Products. As I mentioned before, there are other options in here. There are some other options in the United States. There's also a few that ship from international print providers. But if we take a look at the pricing for the Spoke Custom Products sample that we received, I may have said earlier that these were a nylon spandex blend. If I did say that, that was wrong. These are a polyester spandex blend. So quick correction if I did say nylon earlier. The pricing for these is the same for all three sizes, $5.92 for the product and $4.50 shipping in the United States, $8 shipping for everywhere else. And if I didn't say it already, I am quoting Printify Premium pricing. So if you don't have Printify Premium, the prices for all of these products will be a little bit higher. If you don't have Printify Premium and you're interested in trying it out for 30 days for free, my coupon code, all lowercase POD Insights, on your Printify payments page is still good through the end of this year, through December 31st, 2022. So there's still some time left to get 30 days of free Printify Premium. And that gives you 30 days of better pricing and higher profit margins. If you want to keep it after that, of course, you do pay for it. It's $29 per month or $2.99 per year. I have a whole video dedicated to how Printify Premium is absolutely worth it, even if you don't have a super high sales volume every month. So check that out if you are interested and take advantage of that coupon code before the end of this year. All right, so $10.42 is our total cost for the socks shipped to the United States. So we'll come back to our calculator here, and we'll put in $10.42. And if we did a price of $19.99, which is just the first thing that popped in my head, we'd actually be looking at a profit margin of 36%. And that's a pretty darn good profit margin. However, that is for only one pair of socks. So I personally would probably back down from that price a little bit unless these were a specialty design for socks, like if they were personalized. But backing it down to $16.99 would be a 27% profit margin, which is probably a little bit more reasonable for an individual pair of socks. And you'd be right at exactly 30% profit margin if you did $17.99. Again, this is the total price, just like always. So if you did, say, $3 shipping in your shipping profile for all over print socks, then you could back the product price down to $14.99 and have a total of $17.99 with a 30% profit margin, which is pretty healthy. All right, now for the aprons. As I mentioned earlier, there are a few options on Printify for aprons. MWW On Demand actually has their own apron as well, but the sample that we got was from Colorway, so let's take a look at that one. Now, being that this is an all-over print product with a white base fabric, the color options that you see here are for the color of the straps. So we got the black straps for the sample. Pricing is $14.94 with $5.29 shipping to the US, and there are some pretty high shipping prices for other countries here, especially if you look at Canada, $22.79. I would recommend looking at the other apron options on Printify if you're interested in selling aprons in some of these other countries, because this shipping cost is just going to push that price higher than what the product is worth, in my opinion. But for the US, we're looking at a total price of $20.23. So let's come back to our calculator and put that in. Starting at $29.99, we're looking at a 22% profit margin. This is a little bit low, 31% profit margin. So I could actually back that down a little bit, probably go with in the neighborhood of $32.99. That would get us a $9 profit or 28%. So for the aprons, if you went with the one from Colorway on the pricing, I'd probably look at somewhere in the neighborhood of doing $28 or $29.99, and then anywhere from $3 to $4 for shipping in your shipping profile. One last thing I want to point out in the interest of transparency here, not that you can't see it for yourself on the screen, but Colorway's current product score as of the time that I'm recording this, it is December of 2022, and Colorway has a little bit of a quality issue according to Printify's print provider score. About a month ago, they updated their score so that when you click on the score, you can actually see a breakdown by quality, production speed, and stock reliability. Seems like Colorway's not having any stock reliability issues. They're a little bit slow on their production times. However, the thing that's impacting their score right now at this moment is their quality. A little bit low, in my opinion, on the quality side of things. Now, that can be a temporary thing. This score uses 4 weeks of information, so by the time 4 weeks goes by, hopefully that improves if they maybe had a bad week or two or something like that. But if that score stays a little bit low, that's a little concerning to me, so I did want to point that out. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you found some helpful information about a few more of Printify's all-over print products. And hopefully that pattern creation option and all of the different ways you can create a pattern makes the all-over print products seem a little bit less scary. I know when I was new to selling print on demand in general, I found all-over print a little bit scary, and I was super worried about lining up things and thinking about how much work it was. But my experience has been it's not as scary as I thought it was at first. And also now that Printify has that pattern creation feature, it's not as much work as it used to be. So there is no reason not to explore the all-over print products that Printify has to offer. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button so YouTube can show it to more people. And don't forget to subscribe to the POD Insights channel so you can be notified when I come out with future videos. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.